So we've spent quite a bit of time miking up the drum kit with various mics. Should we just talk through some of it?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, so what we've got on the kick?
Inside the kit we've got an Audix D6, which is quite close to the batter head. That's going to be picking up most of the attack of the kick drum. We've got a Beta 52 sitting just in the sound hole that will hopefully pick up more of the overall beefiness and resonance of the drum, which will be reinforced by room mics and stuff, but we've yet to listen to it, so we'll possibly be making adjustments.
So how close is the D6?
The D6 is pretty much, should be on the front skin, give or take. I mean, it'll take really high sound pressure. Yeah, so it's about 3 or 4 inches.
Okay, yep.
And it's actually drooped.
Oh, well, that's good to know.
Yes.
So we should fix that.
Yeah.
And then, so if you're looking for any more low end or anything like that, would you often bring the mic back, or would you just keep it where it is? Or
yeah, the D6 is pretty versatile. I mean, it's really pre-EQ'd with lots of crack and lots of low end. So it's very, very movement dependent. So it's nice to have that second mic, just giving you that other option. As you'll see with a few things, we've got 2 mics on important elements. So that's the kick drum.
And then on snare, you've got your sort of strat technique.
It's a modified SM57. It's just something that people tend to do. The 57's got quite a nasal tone to it, so when you take the transformer out of it, it lowers the sensitivity of it, but it also flattens the frequency response of it quite a lot. And because we're using it on a snare drum, or a lot of the time on a guitar cat, it doesn't matter that it's lost the sensitivity, it still takes the sound pressure level. And it's just a really nice alternative kind of broad picture of the snare drum sound. And then take to it, just because they work well right next to each other, is a Neumann KM84, which is a condenser that picks up more of the high end and definition. And I tend to try and get as far away from the drums as possible, because the tone comes out of the drum more, rather than this being this sort of like papery right on the snare skin thing. And it's the same with toms and things, they're never really that close to them. So it's just a technique that works. We'll play around with phase. Anything we don't like, we'll change. And then underneath a 57 just to pick up the rattle if we need it.
So for me, I find this quite interesting, because I would normally be quite close on here, which does have quite a boxy sound, but I guess I'm sort of always trying to look for a bit more, I guess, with having less space, from the hi-hats, but for you, you don't really worry too much about it?
The hi-hats go everywhere anyway for me, and you can get into the null point of the back of the mic anyway, and just by moving mics around you can get quite a lot of separation. And in the past, you can put things in between just to cut off the high frequency. We'll see what it sounds like. I mean, presumably we're going to mix this, so we can kind of get a drum sound that we really like to Pro Tools, rather than thinking, oh, we better give a mix engineer all the options. And there's always things that you can do in the mix anyway. So I like approaching it as like, let's just get the sound exactly how we want it. And once everything's going, it is a mishmash of everything in the room anyway. So
cool. And then you've got
nicely ignoring the hi-hat, which is the correct thing to do, because it's going to be on everything anyway.
Exactly. The white noise between the kick and the snare. I've actually found I've been using the hi-hat mic a little bit more recently for not so much thrashy rock stuff, but if there's faster 16th parts, or basically just lifting it in those sections. So it's always good to have, right? Yeah. If you've got enough channels and enough,
definitely.
And then you've gone for this top and bottom.
Sennheiser 421s. We're lucky. Brandon here's got a nice set of cymbals that are nowhere near where we want to put our mics. So we can get away with the 10-inch phallus that is the 421. It's a great tom mic, and normally works very well on its own. But quite a lot of us discovered a long time ago that if you do put a mic on the bottom skin, pop it out of phase, you can pick up quite a lot of the tone of the bottom skin and the shell resonance. And it has an added benefit as well, because it's out of phase with the top. When you bring it up with the top skin, you tend to reject more of the spill in the room. So it acts well just to kind of get the toms speaking a little bit more. You can be a bit more brutal with EQ. And you can do things like EQ the high end on the bottom drum, and it'll still kind of give the tom more attack anyway, but you don't get the cymbals. So you just got, again, 2 mics on lots of things, gives you options. We'll try to make a decision as we're tracking.
It's not particularly very nice sound at the bottom, is it? It's just it's quite tubby and quite boxy and resonant. But when
you put it in there, and you're going to EQ the snot out of it anyway.
Yeah.
But you can, because it's away from me.
And does it matter? Would you normally go for something? Does it matter? I mean, could you put 57 on, or would you go for something more? If you had 2 421s,
2 421s,
would that be the ideal scenario?
Yeah, I mean, I use the clip-ons because quite a lot of the time you don't have a room as big as this, or there's a lot of equipment around, so we're saving mic stands.
Yeah.
And you're always going to reach for an EQ, so as long as you know what you're dealing with. And it's sort of kind of getting a bit ahead of ourselves, but that's where the monitoring and the control room is really important. If you know what you're hearing, you can make those decisions for tracking.
Cool.
So,
and we decided to go for condensers on the overheads because, I mean, I think for me, if I'm doing hard rock or metal or something you want nice shiny cymbals, for me, condensers work quite good.
Definitely.
But if it's, a bit more just, I guess, like a slower rock track, something like the Coles, ribbon mic works quite good, but we've also got this sort of mono Roy overhead as well.
Yeah, the high snare mic's really cool. It's pointing directly at the snare. Obviously it's picking up more of the drum kit, but again, you've got so many options that you can do with it. You can you bring it up its own channel and just mult it off. You can put expanders on it, gates, compress the snot out of it, just use it triggered off the snare or keyed off the snare. You can do lots of stuff to make it explosive, but it's the mono element of it. Just again, it's one of those things that kind of brings the drum kit together when you need it to. If everything's sounding a little bit separated, you can just nudge it in there, and it's great. And they're meant to sound slightly brighter one way round. It's a figure of 8 ribbons, so we've got it the normal logo facing down. If it doesn't work, we'll turn it around.
And with the overheads, we were talking about this a bit before. I mean, we've got quite a simple setup here with 2 crashes and a ride, but if you were doing, say, a band that had 6 crashes, 2 splashes, a couple of chinas, like quite a massive array, would you often just still go for the 2, or would you try and put more up? I mean,
I'd still go for a simplified setup like this, but if you've got channels and mics, use them. So spot mic anywhere you can.
Sure. So what I would do is listen to the overheads in the stereo, get them to hit all the cymbals, and then go, that splash I can't hear very well.
Can't hear it. And if moving the mic's just altering something else, it's not good enough.
Okay. Or
spot
even
mic.
Putting spot mic up and cool.
And funnily enough, in cases like that, 57s work really well.
Yeah.
The ones that you can't have enough of them. They're in the closet, and you just go, okay, 57 on it. You can just again EQ the piss out of it and
just to bring it in and give it the presence, right? Because I mean, essentially you're getting most of the sound of the overheads through the 2 stereo anyway.
Exactly. Which is again I think most of the high end from the snare, the toms, is picked up through the overheads. I mean, the close miking does certain things, but you definitely lose those, and you lose a lot of the high end definition.
Cool. And then we've got some rooms. I think we both agree that we quite like stereo room miking, and I don't know. I'm pretty. There's nothing worse for me when I'm trying to mix someone's track and they've got a mono room mic. So please, if you've got 2 mics, put them up.
Yeah.
I mean, mono room mics do work, but if you can put some stereo room mics up, it makes all the difference.
I mean, in real terms, that's acting as a mono room mic.
Yeah.
I mean, people think. When you look at a drum kit, it's like as you sit in front of the kit and drum here, that's the way the drum kit is. It's like you can work on so many axes. So these are effectively kind of like large overheads, So that acts as a mono source in the room, but these are going to do a lovely job. We walked around and agreed down low here was working because of the loudness of the cymbals.
Yeah, we're just looking for me, I was looking for weights,
Yeah.
heaviness from the kick, so when you could hear the kick.
Yeah.
You know, as you move around, the drum kit might sound a bit thinner, so I tend not to put it there.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'd find a place maybe on one side of the room and then try and match it on the other side. If I can try and keep them equal distance away from the drum kit and everything, it just helps with phase and the imaging. Yeah, and then we've got these on Omni, and I mean the UAD7s, they work, you know, they've worked for years on room mics, right? So they should sound great. And then the other thing, which we won't go into too much detail about, because I've mentioned a million times before in record production, I've got my floor mic technique, which I can't seem to let go of, so we'll put it up, and even if Mike doesn't use it in the mix,
it'll be used.
So yeah, just basically miking out room ambience, but kind of more gritty, horrible stuff than...
Yeah, and it doesn't pick up the cymbals as much as well, so you can kind of, again, pull out elements that you need. And
nice big kick drum, that kind of thing, and you know, we will put a lot of compression on. Yeah. And that's essentially it. I mean, we've actually probably got more mics than we need, but just because there's two of us, or three of us, including Stuart upstairs, we're all trying out different things, so why not if we've got the opportunity to do that? Yeah.